Greetings nerdy list aficionados, let's get spooky. It's time to talk about supernatural comic book characters. Ghosts, vamps, and goblins, oh my. There's a lot going on in the Marvel Universe. Creatures both good and bad. A whole universe, nay multiverse to explore. And while we're at it, why not get a little creepy? I'm Sasha and these are the top 10 scariest supernatural Marvel characters. Don't come for me if you're not scared. Number 10. Morbius. Michael Morbius, or Morbius the Living Vampire, first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 101 back in 1971. He was a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who suffered from a blood disease and was experimenting to find a cure using vampire bats. Because of course he was. Side effects of this turned him into a mutate with characteristics quite similar to those of a vampire, especially in the appearance department. He was depicted with stark white skin, huge red eyes, and large fangs. He actually appeared right after the Comics Code Authority lifted the ban on vampires and other supernatural creatures. Yes, there was a creature ban. He's so low not because these days few people find vampires scary, but because he always tended towards the sympathetic anti-hero side, looking for a cure for his ailment, and driven by desperation about his deteriorating health. Ultimately, he goes the anti-hero route, and that greatly lowers the fear factor, for me at least. Number 9. Dormammu. This character first appeared in Strange Tales number 126 back in 1964. Most will remember this character as a prominent antagonist for Doctor Strange. He is the Lord of the Realm of Darkness, and is particularly intimidating not just because of his design, but also because he can wreak havoc from beyond his dimension with messengers and minions set out to do his bidding. Dormammu is a mystical entity comprised of mystic energy, whom Strange fears. However, he loses some major fear points for something that happened in the early days. He loses a martial arts battle to Mordo, a battle that he set up, and in the process for a time he could no longer return to the Earth realm. The thing with Dormammu is, despite all that power, he can be surprisingly easy to manipulate or bargain with. The ending of Doctor Strange in 2016 was pretty accurate.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
You cannot do this forever.
Actually, I can.
Number 8. Nightmare. Nightmare first appears in Strange Tales number 110 in 1963. He rules the dream dimension with an iron fist. Think an evil dream of the endless, or rather, think of Dream of the Endless as a good nightmare. He tortures humans while they sleep, poisoning their dreams. Despite this, Nightmare is a demon who actually needs humans to survive. For if they stop dreaming, he stops existing. Also, they would go insane. He's got that Fey Achilles heel. Fighting Nightmare is usually about keeping the world in balance and maintaining the sanity of humanity, although sometimes you deal in other realm dynamics. It's a scary concept, all Freddy Krueger and whatnot, but it can be difficult to implement in fresh and dynamic ways. At this point, we've seen it many times. Number 7. Terror Inc. So despite the fact that it may not feel like it today, there were and still are other genres of comic books. Enter Terror Inc., a horror comic. Terror is an immortal who absorbs the powers of others through their dismembered limbs. He first appeared in 1988 as the villain Shrek, and later in 1992 as Terror, which is a much better name to be honest. For a while people thought they were two separate characters, but a Marvel handbook in 2005 solved that canonical battle once and for all. They're the same. Terror is a demon who has existed through the ages, a dark being who slowly learned he could take on the attributes of others by absorbing their limbs. He has reinvented himself across the centuries, working for gangsters and drug dealers. He also still maintains a horrifying near-zombie appearance, or a melting man appearance. However, as time went on, he took on a more anti-hero-ish stance. He still clashes with some heroes now and then, but he's not quite the horrific creature he was at first inception. Number 6. Man-Thing. Man-Thing first appears in Savage Tales number 1 in 1971, and it's one of those instances where experimenting and gaining fantastic powers is treated as horrifying, which it oftentimes is. Ted Sallis was a scientist, a biochemist. He was trying to recreate the Captain America Super Soldier Serum, which always works out so well for people in the Marvel Universe. After being betrayed, he steals the last vial of the serum, injects himself, and later crashes into a magical swamp, where the combination of gross swamp chemicals, the serum, and magic turns him into Man-Thing. Now he is made up of mostly plant matter, and secretes a poison when upset, and also doesn't remember who he is, except for on rare occasions, forced to wander the world as a mindless monster. Thanks, Captain America. Things have changed a bit over the years, but many fans still consider the first Man-Thing run a horror classic. Number 5. FRANKEN-CASTLE. So comic book characters die and are resurrected. It's a thing. It's kind of hard to get mad or believe any death is permanent. In fact, sometimes it would almost be a relief if they were. All of this is to say, back in 2009, Frank Castle was killed by Wolverine's son, who has a name that fans still argue about how to pronounce, despite the author telling everyone how at a con. So Frank was reassembled as a Frankenstein monster by Morbius, and they called him Franken-Castle, which sounds like a cereal. It comes with marshmallows, skulls, and guns. Morbius wanted him to lead the Legion of Monsters, but Frank didn't want to and instead dedicated himself to protecting innocent monsters. This series was interesting. It's not so much the concept of a Frankenstein Punisher that's frightening, but more thinking about the parallel universe where that was a permanent change. Terrifying. Number 4. Marvel Zombies. What's this? A cop-out, you say? How dare you? Marvel Zombies was a limited series that ran from late 2005 to mid-2006, and it was what it said on the tin. The Marvel Universe was zombies. This happened on Earth 2149. In this universe, the hunger had consumed the world, and the zombies were out of food. This series is all about watching heroes and villains alike get killed and eaten by zombies. Not literally, it has a plot, but come on, that's why most people read it. Don't lie. As an alternate universe story, this one is interesting and actually has some effort behind it and has spawned a couple of sequels. Zombies are played out for a lot of people, but there are some who genuinely find them scary. The concept of an unstoppable horde, and also just what that does to the world, living in constant fear. Also, what happens to the survivors? For some, it's quite compelling. Just look at how long they've managed to keep The Walking Dead on. Number 3. Dracula. Yes, Dracula is part of the Marvel Universe and has been since 1951, when he appeared in the comic Suspense number 7. However, the version of Dracula that has plagued Marvel heroes didn't appear till 1972, after they repealed the Supernatural ban and the ban on works based on pre-existing characters. Dracula has been steadily working to increase his power and remove the detriments of being a vampire to achieve true immortality, which would make him an even bigger threat. The thing with vampires is they have centuries to amass wealth, networks of people, worshippers, and more. If one is organized, they can have an entire secret cabal behind them before anyone even knows it. Dracula has raised a vampire army, he's fought the Avengers, and less frighteningly tried to stop his daughter from marrying Deadpool. Because really, Deadpool is great as a character, but who wouldn't want to try to stop that? Also, his head got thrown into the sun, but he'll be back. They always come back. Maybe he's back now. Number 2. STYX. STYX is a manifestation of one of Legion's personalities, who appears with a very mummified, evil, cursed pharaoh style design. STYX, like many of Legion's personalities, has a lot of issues, and this one wants to ascend to godhood by using an ability to warp reality that he plans to steal from Moira McTaggart. STYX highlights the complexity of David Haller's character, who in recent years has turned more and more anti-hero than villain, in that there are many things lurking inside of him that are still quite evil, and it just takes some kind of cataclysmic or magic occurrence or something like that for them to manifest in the world, which would put it in great danger. One hopes that this evil wraith will stay contained. Number 1. Mephisto. Mephisto first appeared back in The Silver Surfer number 3 in 1968, and was inspired by the character from Faust. Mephisto is essentially the Satan of the Marvel Universe, though not the only one. He has often functioned as a dark tempter. Just as the devil appeared to tempt Jesus in the desert, Mephisto will appear offering heroes all kinds of things, but for a price, and often a terrible one, and not just their souls. Few comic fans will ever forget how the character was used to retcon Peter and Mary Jane's marriage out of existence, so that the character could be single and essentially rebooted again. Mephisto is scary because he can be employed at the whims of writers and editors for the most terrifying comic event of all, extensive retconning. On the canon side, he has captured souls and kept them in his realm. He has partaken in the bad happenings of the history of the Marvel world that overlaps with our real world. And he's immortal. One More Day kinda ruined him for me though. Now whenever he shows up, it's just like, great, who's going back to issue 1 today? So those were some of the scariest supernatural Marvel creatures. Were you scared? Let me know who you think is scarier down below. I'm Sasha, and thanks so much for watching Top 10 Nerd. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and go down there and check out some more nerdy lists, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.